Hello and welcome to the Pimpin' Poetry Podcast. Our guest today is the one, the only master of the poetry art, Dre Cruz.
What's up? How are you doing?
I'm so happy to have you here today.
I'm so happy to be here. It's a great opportunity. I'm blessed to be in your presence and glowing and whatnot.
It means a lot that you could take the time to be here, and I appreciate that.
I am there for you.
So, Dre, just want to kind of ask you about your background and just a little bit about yourself.
All right.
From? What do you like?
Oh, where am I from? That's such a hard question. I was a military kid. So I always like to say I'm from Stockbridge, which is like the south suburbs of Atlanta. You know what I mean? That's where I actually had my experiences and where I grew up, where I learned things, where I got in trouble. So
I'm a military kid as well. Did you know that?
no, I didn't. What branch?
Dad's in the Army.
Nice. Army as well.
Since birth, man. He's retired now, and yeah, we moved around a lot. So when I answer that question, it's hard too.
I'm like, where was I born, or where did we stay the longest? Or
yeah, no, I'm just for being where I'm from is where I was raised, which is St. Croix. That's where I get most of my bad habits. It's, where most of my identity lies.
Right.
That's where my family is. So I'm yeah, pretty much from there. VI till we die.
Right. I feel like I didn't have a lot of family interaction growing up because I think both of my parents, not my dad so much, but my mom was definitely the black sheep and my dad was the overachiever. So we were all kind of by ourselves, and then I'm the black sheep of the black sheep family. So I wasn't around, I didn't have those kind of connections. So now that they're older, they're kind of connecting with their family more. So I think that maybe I'll go back into those family connections and stuff when I'm a little bit older as well.
Oh, yeah, family means a lot to my family, and I'm just y'all are cool or whatever, but I have friends that I'm a little closer to.
Yeah, it's hard because I'm the only LGBTQIA plus. I'm the only gay lesbian in my family, basically. So especially in this generation, so it was really hard growing up because I was very much othered, I feel, and kind of set apart and separated. So
you feel now as an adult that has changed, that dynamic? Do you feel like your family is more open to your life?
My nuclear family is definitely, but I just never made those connections with my family growing up. So it's really hard now to connect with my extended family. But like you said, I have friends that might as well be family to me. So
okay. That's Denver. Shout out to Atlanta.
Hey,
being queer in Atlanta. I'm just stepping into my queerness and really understanding what it is that I like, and understanding why my relationships have been so strained in the past are very important to me. Fuck what my family thinks. Because I come from a Caribbean family who are very homophobic, and they love to pretend they're not. So I'm okay, good for you, but no. I'm definitely understanding now that I had a lot of internalized homophobia growing up, and it's gotta shed that shit.
Right.
Here's to grow.
Right. Amen. Yeah. Cheers. I'm gonna take a shot at that.
Cheers. All right. So I really want to ask basically, what does poetry mean to you?
Poetry is life to me, bro. I didn't mean to say it all but poetry is it gives me so much purpose. In 2020, when I really got into, it was like September 2020, I got into the poetry scene because I had ended a really long-term relation, not really long, but a long-term relationship. And I was really like going from where I lived, which wasn't a great home environment, to going to work, to going home, to going to work. And life was just so monotonous and tedious. And I was just so bored and melancholy about everything. And I needed something. And I had been writing forever. So I just started like making little Instagram clips and reels of me reading my poetry and da da da. And then, I was invited by a well-known poet in the city to an open mic. And ever since then, it's been about poetry. It's been all about poetry. And it's, like I said, it's given me purpose. It's given me an escape. It's given me like really an outlet for my emotions, but also a family and a community and a network in order to express those in so many different ways. And so, like, poetry is everything, bro.
Do you remember like the first time, like, or the first poem you ever wrote and what it was about?
Oh yeah, I still perform my first poem. Mm-hmm. To this day. It's a love poem. I got inspired. Okay, so I was watching Roseanne with my mom, and Darlene had to write a poem for school, and it was kind of like this. Just to make another reference, like 10 things I hate about you. I hate the way you talk to me. I hate the way you say. Yeah, it was one of those type. Yes, so it was one of those type poems. Like I hate that I hate you type.
Yeah.
Poems, and it inspired me to write my first like actual like spoken word piece, and that's what I call my first poem, and it's just called You, and it's a love poem about a love letter, and.
It's beautiful.
And I still do it to this day. So yeah, it's one of my more popular poems, actually.
Awesome. So what are you currently working on? Like, what are you passionate about right
now? Right now, I've been working on my first collection of poems for quite some time. I'm trying to perfect the piece and make it exactly what I want it to be. But in the back of my mind, I know that I want to be, published, not self-published. I want to be, traditionally published. Yeah. And that might take me having to change my vision a little bit. So I'm in the process right now of not being so perfectionist and meticulous, knowing that what the publisher expects me to do with the piece may not be exactly what my vision is, and being okay and settled with that, because I am looking for traditional publishing rather than self-publishing.
Right. And I want to talk about that, like just staying true to yourself and your authenticity. Like, how do you ensure that you're making the right decisions when you're producing your art and performing your art? I think a lot of the times that when I read my own poems, I notice that I have an issue with sharing because of vulnerability and feeling like a lot of my work is really personal to me, and I'm afraid of that. Like, it's such an irrational thing to like
No, it's completely rational, actually. Like, I think it's human nature to want to guard the deepest parts of yourself. But that's the thing about being an artist and being a spoken word artist is, um, I think it's mostly about not performing when it's too fresh. Like, if it's too fresh, it's okay to write a poem about a season that you're not in anymore. Mm-hmm. And still read that poem and, you know, let other people relate to that poem without you necessarily having to be in that place anymore. Like, a lot of my new shit that comes out, I wrote it 6, 7, 8 months ago. You know what I mean? When I was actually going through something. And then it's taken me rehearsing it and crying through it, and you know, going over it and changing things to make it more natural to how I actually speak. You know what I mean? Things like that. Like, that would make it easier to actually perform the poetry and make it natural and flow. And giving it that time.
Yeah.
You always want to give it that time.
I think the editing process is just the most important part of the writing process. And I hate to see when artists skip that. I have to admit that, like, just looking over other people's screenplays over the past few years and just creative writing, things like that, I noticed that everyone can tell when you skipped the editing process, or just because I think that first step is usually just the flow, you know, just your thoughts going onto paper. Like, everyone can tell when this is just a stream of consciousness and not an edited piece to where it's being redone and
refinished. Like, yeah.
I think that's very important. So I honestly want to use this platform to shed a light on a community that I think is really important. Like, poetry community in Atlanta is growing and thriving. And after 3 years of watching you all perform and just being in awe of all of the talent that is here, I want Atlanta to really be able to get to know y'all on a personal level. Awesome. And I know, and I see it in your art. Like, Jay, I've seen you perform a number of times, and I never leave your performance thinking, yo, I didn't feel that. I feel it. Like, I appreciate that. I felt it. I feel you. And I love that about you. Where would you say was like the best place to just hop on the mic and do an open mic right now? Like, you have open mic shows going on where we can see artists perform that are just amazing.
The Circle. Yes. Every week, every single week, Tuesday nights, from 8 to 12, The Circle at Gallery 992. When I'm saying this place, shout out to Artemis. He has curated a space that for us is like church. It's like home away from home. It's for anybody from somebody who has one poem in their phone that they wrote today on the way to the event, and they're just feeling it and they need to get up and they need somebody to hear what they have to say, all the way to seasoned veterans who have been doing this for years. We have Grammy Award-winning artists come through. We have, you know what I mean? So, but what the structure of The Circle is there's no stages. It's literally a circle. You stand in the middle of the circle and you're sharing yourself with creatives, other creatives who are going to be sharing themselves with you. And it's an exchange. It's a mirror. And it's all about love. We're not going to boo nobody off no stage. Like, if you mess up, quote unquote, like, nah, forget that, rewind. Like, we want to hear what you got to say. it's all acoustic or a cappella. So, you know, like we want to actually hear your words. We don't want to hear no track. We don't want to do all that. Like, but if you got a violin, if you got drums, if you got whatever it is that you have that's just your expression, you can bring it to the circle. And I've met family, like literal, my family is there. So
with your family, and it's amazing. And honestly, I have to say that the Circle is one of the most consistent poetry open mics in this city.
oh yeah.
Shout out to Artemis. I love it. Great. Dre, you are an amazing host, and you always make me so comfortable on that mic. Don't ever stop.
Yeah, I love it. And this was my first hosting gig. Y'all should have seen me when I first got to the Circle like 3 years ago. I was literally like shaking and like, and like sometimes I look at myself and I like sit back and I'm like, wow, I am like, you know, when you say you're going to do that, I want to do that. I'm going to do that. And then you're working and you never really see yourself. And like, it was like I was on shrooms. I'm not even gonna lie, but I had sat back and I was like, "Yo, I'm not trying anymore. Like I'm doing it. Like I'm doing it." And it was like so crazy. And it's just like
doing it is half the battle.
Right. Like I'm doing it. And you look back and you're like, I am the person that I saw when I was like, I'm gonna be that. But see, now I have to look out for the people who are like me, who are like, I'm going to be like you because I need to bring them up. I need to throw that rope back. And like Sunbody.
So proud of you.
Sunbody. Yeah, like let me shout out Sunbody, who was another host at the Circle. Young Cat came up, fly artist, fly poet, revolutionary person, like, and Somebody is really that person that I personally saw and was like, they're hungry, they want it, like, so they're gonna get it. And we've been trying to pull those.
How important is mentoring to you right now in this season of your life? Like, do you have a mentor who will say, hey, you know, I've been here and I've done this or that, and this is how it's worked out? And are you, you know, given time to teach other artists and mentee in that feeling? Like, how important is that to you?
Man, both. I have an amazing mentor. Once again, shout out to Artemis. He's not just been my like spoken word mentor. He's been like a life mentor for me. He's like an older brother to me. You know, and like older brother and sister, we butt heads sometimes. Sometimes we don't get along. But for the general majority of the time, like 98% of the time, we're locked in and we're right there. And he tells me, you know, you're being sensitive, or like, you know, don't say nothing, I got it. Mm-hmm. And you know what I mean? Or, you know, like he's really that person that he looks out for me. And then because I've been blessed with such good mentorship, I have, you know, for a couple artists, I wouldn't call them myself their mentor per se, but I would say I have mentored them. Yeah. Or just really just given opportunity when I had opportunity, I think is the biggest part. Like a lot of people gatekeep. And when they get opportunities, they're like, no, I'm going to take this and I'm going to take off. And I've really embraced, like, if I have an opportunity, my team has an opportunity. So
it's more important in the leader to see, hey, that I can delegate and we can all get this bag together.
Right. Like I keep some things to myself, you know what I mean? But for the most part, like if I get an opportunity and they're like, hey, bring some people in. Oh, I'm definitely there. I got a couple people in the bag, and then always have a couple new artists that are just coming on the scene and maybe haven't had that first show yet and just need that first show to get out there.
Awesome. So I am just so excited that you can share all of this with us. Guys, we are going to wrap this up.
definitely stay tuned. Next
Hello
up,
and welcome back to the Pimpin' Poetry Podcast. Our guest today is Dre Cruz. Yes. So what we're gonna do is go over our poem of the week.
Word.
We read Nikki Giovanni's Woman poem, and it is Women's History Month.
Right.
So I love to read poems by Black women authors because it's just they're so talented and they don't get the recognition they deserve, I feel. So here it is. Let's share it.
Yes.
You see, my whole life is tied up to unhappiness. It's father cooking breakfast and me getting fat as a hog, or having no food at all, and father proving his incompetence again. I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. It's having a job that won't let you work or no work at all, castrating me. Yes, it happens to women too. It's a sex object if you're pretty and no love, or love and no sex if you're fat. Get back fat, Black women be a mother. Grandmother strong thing, but no woman, no games woman, romantic woman, love needer, man seeker, dick eater, sweat getter, fuck needing love seeking woman. It's a holy issue, and buying Losa's address, and her saying you shouldn't when you know all too well that you shouldn't, but smiles are only something we give to properly dressed social workers. Not each other. Only smiles of I know your gain, sister, which isn't really a smile. Joy is finding a pregnant roach and squashing it, not finding someone to hold. Let go, get off, get back, don't turn me on the back. How dare you care about me? You ain't got no good sense, because I ain't shit. You must be one with, and that to care. It's a filthy house with yesterday's watermelon and Monday's tears, because true ladies don't know how to clean. It's intellectual devastation of everybody to avoid emotional commitment. Yeah, honey, I would have married him, but he didn't have no degree. It's knock-kneed, mini-skirted, wig-wearing, dyed blonde, mama-scarred, born dead, my scorn real whore. Rough-heeled, broken-nailed, powdered, face me, whose whole life is tied up to unhappiness. Because it's the only for real thing I know. It's Woman by Nikki Giovanni. Like, Shawty was going in.
Right.
So
that's the real deal, Holyfield of the woman world, bruh. Like,
as Black women, as Black queer women, which we both are, we are on, how do I say this? We're on the wildest end of the spectrum.
Right.
I would say that because
it's like everything is against us, bruh. Like, especially, like I don't know about you, but I'm a millennial. Hate everywhere.
195.
Female. So, hate against women. Lesbian, hate against the gay. Black, hate against the blacks. So it's just like everywhere you turn, everywhere you look, there's hate about some aspect of who you are. And it's just like being a Black, queer woman. Like, it's like the 3 horsemen of death in this society. Like,
no, I don't think that people understand that the unhappiness of being all of these things that are part of underprivileged communities, like we're part of each and every one of them. So we're seeing hate from across the board, and it can lead to a life of unhappiness, like Nikki is talking about in this poem.
Right. And she's just the Black woman part. Like, she doesn't even have the queer there per se. And it's just like the expectation of a woman to give of herself until she has absolutely none of herself left. And then to give more.
Done out everything that is expected of you as being a woman. And add being a woman of color and a queer woman, it's really hard, especially in America. Like her form and the way this poem flows is just excelente. Like it brings me to a point where I'm just like, wow, there is not a sentence to this poem that I can't relate to. Like when I was reading it, I was just like, yes, yesterday's watermelon and Monday's tears, because I never know which one is coming.
Right.
Like I'm one day I can be happy, the next it's everything is falling apart, because I'm reminded that I live in a world where respect for who I am and what I believe in isn't guaranteed.
Right. It takes a really big toll on your mental health. And like she was talking about, even with that line, like Monday's tears and yesterday's, like, have you ever been so depressed that like you can't clean your house, like you can't wash your ass? Like there has been so many times as just a woman in this world, seeing what's going on in this world, they're taking our reproductive rights away. It's devastating. And, you know, we need it as women, especially Black women. We need to not only, one, be more into healthcare and into the, you know, like healthcare fields so that we are taking care of our own, but we need to seek help. We need to seek help. I don't know where community went, somewhere out the window, and you know, this poetry community is bringing it back slowly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's communities throughout the creative community that are bringing back that sense of like family and belonging and togetherness, but that unity that we need has been so separated for so long, and it's definitely taken a toll.
Yeah.
On that mental health.
No, I was talking to a friend the other day just about how culturally we didn't know of people growing up being in therapy. Like there weren't any children like who were going to therapy, like, or adults around us who were seeking help.
Oh, because you weren't mentally ill, you were bad.
Mm-hmm. No,
you know what I mean. Yeah. So you weren't neurodivergent. You were just, you know, like acting up,
or lazy,
or a little touched.
A little touched.
Right.
Or lazy, or easily distracted, or talking too damn much. And even, you know, today, I see it all the time, but like we're seeing the effects of how ADHD, because I am finally diagnosed.
Right.
Finally, in my adulthood, almost 30. Oh shit, I just knocked the shit out of this mic. How I'm seeing how like the media is trying to kind of explain that like everybody does not have ADHD. Everyone is not neurodivergent, because there's such a rise in diagnosis. But like that's because we didn't have the resources to get diagnosed. And children who were forced to be on things like Ritalin and things, that was not the right form of medication for everybody at the time.
Right.
Yes, there is systemic racism where we see that these drugs are being pushed on us, you know, as at very young ages, because doctors don't believe that Black people need medication for certain things.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they're trying to just...
It's more like we need discipline. It's more of a sedative.
Yeah.
We need to sedate them. We need to calm them down, make them complicit, make them easily moldable.
Right. So I think there are some strides being made, and there's a lot of work to do. Depression is a nasty thing, but I'm like, when people are like, yeah, she's depressed, we're doing this and that. Yeah, she has every right to be, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, because I can't sit down and listen to white people explain to me why a Black person is struggling. Like, you really don't know. You really, no matter what you do, you can empathize with people and you can try to put yourself in their shoes and imagine what that life is like. You'll never actually know.
Right.
You can never actually walk the path of someone else. Think, we really have to be a little more understanding of what people are going through.
Right. A little more open-minded. And, I think the older generation, as we go along, I think that they're kind of opening their mind. They're seeing like, oh, maybe that wasn't right. You know what I mean? Or, oh, maybe I could have done more. I think they're doing more with their grandkids. They're being much better with their grandkids than they were with us. Like, but you know what I mean? As long as somebody's getting it, right? And in the meantime, we can take care of ourselves.
I can't be mad at anyone who's experiencing growth. To me, it's like, oh, okay, you're treating your grandkids better. Looks like over the years you learned something.
Right.
Right? It doesn't have anything to me to do with, oh, well, they just like them more. No, it's
no, they're just growing.
More,
yeah. They're getting older, they're getting softer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Understanding that a lot of the shit they did was unnecessary.
Right. They're not doing as much. Like, we just don't need to do too much. Let people live and love how they live and love, and just let them be who they are. I mean, Black folks are Black folks' worst critics. So,
and I'm going to see us join together and build community. And I've never felt like in the many spaces I've been in Atlanta, where poetry is the center of all things, that the community wasn't tight-knit,
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's what poetry to me is actually really about. It's about building a community through understanding and art and life experiences. So shout out to poetry.
Shout out to poetry. Shout out to Atlanta poetry, especially St. Louis poetry, Baltimore poetry. We've got a lot of places that are coming out with the poets. They come out here and they rock our socks, and now they're part of us, and we're just like, no, you can't go back.
Indeed. What other shows do you have coming up this month? I know you've got The Circle, which is every Tuesday.
Every single Tuesday. And then every single Friday, the Fam Club, ATL, which is fashion, art, and music. Every single Friday, we've got from 8 to 3 a.m. at Crazy Atlanta, we're at right now. That's singers, rappers, artists, like visual artists, vendors, and then every other Friday. So this Friday coming up, and then every other Friday from there. Smoke and chill at our bar. I have the 5 to 7:30 happy hour poetry section that I'm hosting. Shout out to Odinero and Auleen, Children of the Sun, doing it big out here. They host the rest of the night there at our bar until 10 p.m. And then we go out to Fam Fest, which is the at Crazy Atlanta. But I get a couple artists every week, and we do our thing at our bar, which is a legendary bar out here in Atlanta on Edgewood. Yes. So we have a theme every single time we go out there, and we just get our groove on, and we do our thing. We spit our shit.
Awesome. I love our bar. I love Edgewood in general because it's so Black.
Right, Black on Black on Black.
I might be able
and it's Black alt too. Like, there's a lot of alternative Black representation there, which I personally love, because growing up, it was, oh, you act white. No, I act like Black. Just
I like what
alt Black, right? Like alt Black.
Afro punk vibes.
Right. I was such an emo kid. I was a straight up emo kid growing up. You see the snake bites, you see the bugs.
Get with it. There's a lot of Black people who aren't into it. Like, I think that even Atlanta has like a huge Black anime community as well. And I'm just like,
and we get all the cons. We get the Dragon Con, we get Anime Week Atlanta, we get Momo Con. You know what I mean? So we get
huge events.
We get huge shit.
That's great. I love it. I am so excited to hear Dre's poem. Dre is about to get up here and rock this mic for us. So stay tuned to the Pimp and Poetry podcast and see you soon.
What's up? This is Dre Cruz, the mouthpiece. The piece I have for you tonight is called I-20. It's late and I'm driving inebriated. I'm speeding down I-20. I'm going over the limit, and I'm over my limit. My vision's spinning, but if I don't make it to your door tonight, then I don't think this life is worth living. 'Cause my calls don't go through no more, and my texts don't deliver. And I still have this video where you say my name and it makes me shiver. So I'm coming home to knock down your door and knock down this wall that we've been yelling at each other through for months, that we built out of resentment and distrust. So you tell me what I gotta do. What hoops do I jump through? What mountains do I climb? Because I'm on hot pursuit of you. And if 12 want to catch up, they better be on hot pursuit too, because I'm on my way and I ain't stopping at no stop signs tonight. I got the right of way, and with my moonroof cracked halfway, it's the only way that my smoke escapes. So my kids hauling ass down the freeway, looking more like a freight train track star. But I was running in the other direction, cross-faded while I was trying to drive. I got lost in my mind and somehow 20 turned into 285. Well, all through South Fulton, I was in disbelief, like, how am I leaving the one woman that I need? And I continue to drink. Shit got dark as I'm going through Forest Park, and my heart's in turmoil as I'm passing Jonesboro. And by the time I got to Decatur, I was raging at myself. But anger turned to bargain and blubber, trying to make deals with God all the way through Chamblee Tucker. And that's how it was through Dorville and Norcross. But by Sandy Springs, my God hadn't spoke, and my levees all broke. So I cried and I choked on this blunt that she rolled when I was still at her crib. And it's laced with the gloss that she had on her lips. And it smells like sugar cookie, but it tastes like shit and hit, which made me laugh a little bit. Now I'm driving past Smyrna like, damn, I gotta get back on my bitch. And as a sign for I-20 came into view, I became resolute. I drove around this whole fucking loop, and it brought me right back to you. So it's late and I'm driving inebriated. I'm speeding down I-20. I'm going over the limit. And I'm over my limit, my vision's spinning, but if I don't make it to your door tonight, then I don't think this life is worth living. And that's peace. Thank y'all. My name is Dre Cruz, the mouthpiece. You can follow me at DRECRUZ, the mouthpiece, like PEACE. Peace.